Delighted to be here this morning, so thank you, Sheila, for allowing me hopefully show you, I suppose, the journey we've been on as a business for the last 2 years. And I think listening to Niall and Sarah earlier on, you'd almost think, what's the point? But I hope I'll be able to demonstrate that, a traditional bricks and mortar business that's 127 years on the high street can adapt to the challenges that, I suppose, digitization of content and also the way people are consuming content, you can adapt your business to that and start to see some wins. Interesting what Sarah was saying about paddling pools. I was one of those fools at 8:30 on Saturday morning that was queuing outside a shop called Mr. Price in Nutgrove because I found out online the night before after searching around 25 websites, not 32, but that they had paddling pools. So I managed to get a paddling pool for €9.99 and I then spent €75 in Homebase on a hose and then €5 on the connection for the hose sort of thing. And my kids spent all of 40 minutes in it. I suppose that'll be the last time I'll do that. But I do have a clicker, sorry. So I suppose really what I want to do is kind of bring you through the journey over the last 2 years, and I suppose it has been really a kind of a transformation for the business because really it's been about delivering a sustainable future for the business. And anybody who doesn't know Eason, I hope you all do at this stage, 127 years in existence, so we consider ourselves an iconic Irish brand on the high street. Huge history and tradition, a market leader in books, newspapers, magazines, stationery, cards. We're the largest retailer of cards, books, magazines, etc. We turn over around 250 million. We have 1,000 employees and we've just over 60 stores in Ireland. So a significant, I suppose, bricks and mortar business on the high street. Just to give you some context in relation to our business, predominantly retail in ROI and NI. We have a franchise business as well. So 1/3 of our store estate is actually franchise model. We're the largest wholesaler of books in Ireland as well, and we now obviously have what we consider a significant online position and strategy. So it was a big challenge for us really back in 2010 when I suppose 2009 when our managing director Conor joined and I joined in 2010 was we were facing a significant amount of, I suppose, macro challenges. We all know about the consumer sentiment. The big challenge we had was growing competition, particularly from Amazon, which everybody's aware of, and I suppose what they're doing in the space of not only physical books but also digital books. If you saw Niall's slide earlier on. But the big challenge we had was online and digital content as well, the way people were consuming newspapers, the way people were consuming magazines, etc., etc. So big challenges, and as a result, a significant contraction in our core categories. But at a micro level, and sort of turning the lens into our own business, our stores were in need of significant investment. We all talk about, how bricks and clicks exist together, and a big thing that retailers need to do is create more experiences and really make sure that we're kind of giving people a reason to actually go into our stores. So whether that's the way the stores appear or the way that you're actually engaging people in store. So that was a very, very important element of the business that was lacking. Our brand, even though it was very much known by people, it was actually losing relevance in consumers' minds. They didn't really know what Eason stood for anymore, so there was a huge amount of work to do on the actual positioning of the brand. And we had no digital strategy. We had a website that effectively had been in business or had been operating for 6 or 7 years, but it was operated out of the 5th floor of O'Connell Street by 3 people. And with no, I suppose, senior manager or executive responsible for the actual website itself. So as a result, it wasn't a clear focus and it was delivering very little revenue for us. And I suppose the bigger challenge we had was we had no overarching business plan or business strategy to kind of see us through the next few years and little innovation as a result of our core categories contracting. So as I said, it was all about securing a sustainable long-term future for Eason and its people. And I suppose what we identified was a number of kind of platforms that we needed to ensure we delivered. We needed to create great stores where people wanted to actually spend time and money in. So there was a huge store investment program put in place. We wanted to become a leading e-retailer. So in other words, we didn't want our website to be just a kind of an add-on. We wanted to actually come to the fore and become an integral part of how people consume the Eason brand. We wanted to ensure that we delivered a loyal and growing customer base because, as we know, people become very, very fickle, or consumers become very fickle with I suppose, the choice that they have, not only online but on the high street as well. So we needed to ensure that we maintained a loyal customer base and made them, I suppose, even more loyal to the business. And we wanted to make sure that the iconic Irish brand that Eason was seen as beating the competition both offline and online all the time. So the journey we went on involved a huge amount of consumer insight, desktop research, study tours to the US and to the UK. We spoke to former directors in the business, key stakeholders, journalists, authors, publishers, anybody who had a real kind of, I suppose, a vested interest in the business. And it was really to understand where they thought we needed to go to and what we needed to do across a whole facet of the business. So from a digital perspective, from a physical perspective, and from a consumer perspective as well. And there was a whole host of insights that effectively came out of that. And those insights really drove our retail strategy. And our retail strategy that we effectively kicked off in 2011 had 3 key pillars to it. The first one was around everything at Easton. So that was effectively looking at the product offering that we had and how we could actually innovate, renovate, and in some cases transform that product offering. The second pillar was about investing in the store estate. So it was one thing improving our product offering, but we actually had to improve the actual store estate as well, the actual look and feel of our stores, and really drag them into the 21st century. And the third pillar, which obviously we're going to focus on today, was our digital strategy. In other words, we actually had to create a digital strategy that made sense and fitted with the overall Easton business. Just to give you an idea in relation to I suppose the product, the first pillar, which is all about the actual product offering. This just gives you a flavour of some of I suppose the transformational projects that we undertook as part of our retail offering. So Niall spoke earlier on about that experiential piece, and this is what we really tried to do with this. So, you know, our Emotion, our new gift and card offering, our whole Artemis section, which was all about, you know, really creating a destination for children. These were key hooks for us that we've seen great returns on as a result of creating a reason for people to come into our Easton stores. We also did significant work on the actual brand itself. So in other words, the brand mark. What we wanted to do was sort of inject new vitality and sort of energy into the brand. And as subtle as it is, you know, with the Easton on the far right-hand side, you can see then how we were actually able to bring it to life through, I suppose, all the consumer touch points, be it in store, be it online, or through the products itself. So the subtlety of small changes with your brand and how you can actually bring that to life in store and online was really, really important to us as well. We opened 2 flagship stores, as only Easton could, in 2012, one in Cork and one in Belfast. And I suppose this just gives you a flavour of how we kind of try to, I suppose, lift ourselves on the high street. This just gives you a very quick flavour of what we tried to do. As you can see here, these are some of the key areas around our book offering. So what we tried to do was really kind of create, I suppose, focal points within the store, identifying sort of the key areas that we felt would grow our business. So for example, we were seeing significant growth in cookbooks and lifestyle books and everything to do with the home. So we created a destination around that. Similarly, we wanted to create a reason for, you know, our A to Z fiction was a significant volume driver for us. So what we did is we created a reader's room where people could actually come in, sit down and take time out, because that was one of the insights that we got from consumers, was that there was no room or no space in our store. So as a result, people didn't feel that they were actually in a proper bookstore like some of our competitors. So we really wanted to create something different with our book offering. And even with our stationery, we created a kind of almost like the portal into our stationery department. And again, it was about just injecting vitality into it and creating, I suppose, different reasons why consumers might want to come into our business or into our stores. This is our kids section, which we called Artemis. We've rolled this out actually now into 15 stores. And again, as you can see, we really kind of brought, I suppose, a lot of visualization to the business in the way we were communicating. So if you imagine probably your local Easton store, which wouldn't have this at the moment, but as you can see, all of the characters are really relating to the kind of the age profiles of the kids that are there. So you see over, I suppose, on the back end here where you have all your Mr. Men and things like that, that's very much appealing to the 0 to 4, 0 to 5 kids. So when kids go in, they automatically are attracted to that part of it. And what this has done is we've seen significant double-digit growth in our children's book sales as a result of this. And we do story time on Saturday mornings where parents can come in with their kids, and we have people queuing to get into the area because we've actually created a sort of a space now where parents can actually sit down and read with their kids. So this has been really, really important to us, transforming our, I suppose, our existing store estate. We also, in my mind, did gifts appallingly bad. If you needed to get some rosary beads or a cross, chances are you could get it in Easton's a few years ago, but what we've really tried to do is kind of branch out into, pardon the pun, with the tree in the middle, but the whole idea was that we wanted to kind of, I suppose, appeal to the emotions that females have when they're buying various gifts. So we've introduced a significant new range of gifts into some of our key stores, and we've already started to see significant benefits in that. In other words, we've answered what our consumers were looking for and are trying to give them what their need state, or delivering on what their need state might be. We also introduced new concepts like personalised gifting into our store in Belfast. So again, another reason and another, I suppose, service that we wanted to add to the business to again, create that better experience. And we've seen some great results on the back of this from I suppose, people coming in. And I suppose the big upsell here is around selling photo frames, which you'd already sold. So this is about really creating a service that enables us to sell more products that we already do. So I hope that gives you a flavour of a very quick way, because obviously I want to focus on the digital for today, but the importance of still making sure that we were delivering, I suppose, an experience and on the product offering from a physical perspective. The next thing I want to talk about is our digital strategy and I suppose the focus for today. And there was really 4 key strands to our digital strategy. The first was around an online school book solution. So at the moment, obviously, probably on the top of minds of a lot of people. Back in 2011, we are the largest physical retailer of school books in the country, but yet there was 19 online retailers of school books in Ireland in 2011, and we didn't actually have an online offering. So as the biggest physical retailer, to not have that presence was a reason why we were losing or were declining in sales year on year. So it was something we had to do on that, and I'll talk to you about that now. We also had to relaunch our main catalogue site. So our main catalogue site, as I said, even though we had effectively an e-commerce platform that was functioning, there was no, I suppose, there was no one managing it, there was no strategy around it. So as a result, it was very much just a book, an online book retailer. The third element of the strategy was really about how we can leverage its multi-channel element. So in other words, the one thing that we have that Amazon don't have is 60 stores. So it's really understanding how we could actually bring that to the fore and help us deliver that kind of multi-channel, I suppose, approach that consumers are looking for. And the final element was our loyalty program. Now, not necessarily in the digital, space per se, but I suppose what the loyalty program has given us is a great platform and a new channel to communicate to people, and as a result, bring them onto our online stores, online and in stores. So it's been hugely important to us, and I'll share some insights on that as well. So if I start with our online website called eastonschoolbooks.com. As I said to you back in 2011, we didn't have an online forum for school books. We carried out a lot of research with consumers to understand what exactly they were looking for from these online school books. And as you can see, free delivery was extremely important to them. Discounts were important. Speed of delivery, important. Not as important as the other two. And book covering were important. So what we did was we looked at, I'm not expecting you to look at this, but I suppose what I'm trying to kind of explain to you is we looked at all of our competitive set, the kind of the main people in this space, to understand what their USP was. So what was the USP that was calling them out? And what we tried to do was look at all of them and then deliver the best USP out there. So this is the website as it is at the moment. A couple of small tweaks actually on this, but this has been extremely successful for us. And to put it in context, in 2011 was our first year. We sold more in the 2-month period for back to school than we did in the whole previous year on our main catalogue site in that 2-month period. And last year, we trebled the sales on it, and 1 in 3 school books that Easton sold were sold online. So our bricks and mortar business is still critically important, but what we were doing was we were answering a call out that consumers were doing, because there's a significant shift in school book purchases online. And I suppose now we've become a significant player in the space. We were probably the number 2 retailer online of school books last year, and our ambition this year is to be the number 1, and so far we're on track. The beauty of that is, even this year with what we're seeing, our actual physical sales of school books, our sale of school books physically in store is actually up on last year as well. So we're actually seeing that in store we're seeing an increase, and online we're seeing an increase. So I suppose that maybe kind of ties in with what I think Sarah was saying in relation to John Lewis. The second strand of our strategy was on our main catalogue site. So what we wanted to become was the number 1 online bookseller. This was back in 2011, the number 1 online Irish bookseller. So what does that mean? Effectively, we weren't going to try and compete with Amazon, but in every country that Amazon are in, there is a local online offering. And what we wanted to do was effectively just own that space. So, we were never going to shake the hornet's nest, but, the reality of it is there was an opportunity for us there, so we wanted to make sure that we were top of mind with people. So our whole strategy was based on, I suppose, a differentiation strategy. In other words, looking at our network of shops and enabling that value-led, multi-channel shopping experience to come to the fore. So this was our strategy in essence, and I'm not going to bring you through the detail of this, but we effectively identified 4 key pillars that we were going to deliver this on. One was going to be around multi-channel shopping, one around customer engagement, products and contents, and service of value. And because we were starting from such a low base, we said we needed to get some basics right. And when we got the basics right, we'd move into what we could do around differentiating. And then when we were at that stage where we were comfortable that we were differentiating ourselves enough, we then looked to see how we could start to innovate. So, we're on this journey, and this is probably, I suppose, morphed into a kind of a more detailed strategy around certain elements. But, I suppose that's where we started from back in 2011. That's the website as it was at the end of 2011. This is how it currently looks. I'm not going to go through all the detail of all of the different bits and pieces you can, but I hope you can see that there isn't exactly anything compelling with this, even though, you can see the product offering and everything else like that. But what we've really tried to do now is create more call to actions with add to baskets. We're promoting more. We've got carousels that are, consistently moving and telling people around what's happening in Eason's. We have our store locators. You can see our loyalty card, our school books, events, gift cards, kids, e-readers, e-books. So really what we're doing, embracing everything that I suppose someone would expect from a physical or a digital retailer of books. And what we're trying to do is kind of make sure that we're kind of catering for all of those needs. And to give you a flavour of the kind of the journey we had to go on in 2012 to get us to that, and I'll just give you a flavour. We have a new search engine marketing agency, we redesigned the website, we have a new shop locator, and we're seeing huge traction with that. There's a lot of people searching for that, and that's why when you think about multi-channel, the amount of people who are coming onto our site and are actually searching for store locations. So it goes to show that, there is a lot of people researching online and then they're actually going into stores. So that was very, very important to get right. We have click and collect now, say for example on school books, and we're seeing big traction with that as well. So people are now effectively ordering their books on schoolbooks.com and asking for them to be dropped to their local Easton store. So again, what we're seeing is the opportunity around getting that additional purchase when they go in, particularly around stationery, is hugely valuable to us and will be over the next 4 to 5 weeks. The third strand of our strategy was around our e-store. And this really was around I suppose, bringing our multi-channel credentials to the fore. We've now rolled this out to 31 stores, and it was really about giving a strong brand position and profile to our multi-channel offer in store. So in other words, we didn't want to just kind of do it, I suppose, piecemeal. So what we effectively did was we delivered an e-store into the heart of our book offering. So if you went into O'Connell Street at the moment, right in the heart of our book offering, which is our largest book sales, as you can imagine, in O'Connell Street, we've got this e-store. And what we're selling there are devices, and we're really trying to show people that we have, I suppose, digital content available. So when people come in, you can effectively go in, download, buy your device, and go online, search on Eason's, and effectively download the books to your device there and then, and effectively have a walkout working model. Now, the big challenges with this, because the reality of it is this business is changing so fast out. We're almost running to try and keep up. So we have huge, I suppose, questions to ask ourselves now in relation to the next 2 years and what's that going to look like and how we develop that. And when you look at what retailers are doing in the UK, when you see the likes of Waterstones partnering up with Amazon, which to me just doesn't make sense, but that's the road they've gone down. So, it's about how we can actually look to ourselves and see how we can develop some sort of application that we can manage in-house ourselves and deliver that. So that's something that we're working on at the moment. But again, this was incredibly important to making sure that consumers realize that we had an online offering, and vice versa when people are online, that they know that we've an in-store offering. As I said, we've click and collect, reserve and collect, we've in-store kiosks, the walkout working, we've free Wi-Fi in certain stores, and we're now looking at in-store refunds as well. So we're really trying to make sure that we're leveraging the fact that we have this significant retail estate and trying to bring that to the fore. The fourth strand was our loyalty program. And again, when we carried out consumer research, a lot of consumers said, why don't Easton have a loyalty program? And I suppose they had a valid point. But what we wanted to do was we didn't want to create just a loyalty program which was all about points. What we wanted to do was, again, coming from the research, a lot of the consumers just wanted to know what was happening in Easton. Because we've obviously author events or we have signings and things like that, people actually wanted to know what was happening in Easton. So what we did was we wanted to create a platform where we could obviously reintroduce Easton to consumers, reconnect with them, and start to tell them about what's happening in the business, both in store and online. We wanted to devise a powerful launch strategy for this because I suppose there's so many loyalty programs out there at the moment, and we wanted to make sure that if we launched this, that it was going to get traction straight away, because the biggest concern, because it's a significant investment by the business, the biggest concern is you launch a program, you don't get traction, and all of a sudden then you're effectively trying to manage or maintain something that hasn't been successful. And what we wanted to do was then deliver continuous and rewarding customer engagement. And that was really, really important to us, around making sure that we were always generating that repeat purchase, keeping them up to speed with what was happening, giving them offers both online or in store, and making sure that we were always connecting with them and effectively creating a new channel to communicate with them. So just to give you a flavour, we launched this in October 2011. We now have almost 200,000 members of our loyalty program. So, in our first year, we expected to deliver 100,000 members. In our first 3 months, we delivered 100,000. So the launch strategy was critical to that. We absolutely really made sure that every single consumer that we wanted to talk to was aware of the fact that we had launched this program. Our email communications alone delivered just under 1.5 million, and that's purely just from the emails we were sending out. So that was either for in-store revenue or online revenue. You can see the change in spend in relation to, or the variance in spend between members and non-members, and the frequency in the Republic. So our loyalty members, we've seen a 17% increase in the frequency of their visits. So we've been really, really positive, really happy with the output of this program. The key thing for us is, though, it's a bit like everything else. People get emails from retailers all the time. So what we tried to do was make sure that we weren't always on the hard sell. So what it was all about making sure we were giving them nice soft messages. There was nice sells in it as well, but it was all about the surprise and delight that Eason could bring you, and that has been hugely successful, with some of our opt-in rates being almost 50%, which is significant for anybody who's sending out emails at the moment. So just to give you a flavour of some of our communications at the moment. So as you can see, back to school offers, communicating what's new at Eason, encouraging members to visit in-store or online. So again, all the time promoting the multi-channel offering that we have. We give surprise and delight emails. So everybody who registered with the program, we tried to capture as much information as possible. So every month we send out birthday emails to people, and we give them a 15% off online with a promo code. So again, it's another way of kind of just acknowledging our customers and trying to reward them in some way, and we've seen great traction with this. Our newsletter, this is our lapsed emails. So what we do is we look at customers who haven't shopped with us in the last month, and what we do is we send them out a targeted email to turn around and say, look, we haven't seen you in the last month. If you come in and shop with us, we'll give you $250 when you spend €20 or more. That has delivered significant revenues for us. And when you look at that 1.5 million, a lot of that is down to this email and the birthday email. So they've been hugely, hugely important to us for driving people in store, but also online. So our marketing approach, as a result, has become, I suppose, significantly different. So, we've gone from being a traditional, I suppose, bricks and mortar business, which would have very much been a traditional marketeer. So in other words, we would have used TV, radio, press, predominantly press actually, in previous years. And now what we're really seeing is that there's a kind of an explosion of how we're engaging with people. We have a significant social media strategy in place. We were the first brand in Ireland to launch Pinterest. Actually, interestingly enough, it came up a few times this morning, and it works very, very well for us. Not so much from a commercial perspective, but more for us to tell them about what, I suppose, product offerings we have, and I suppose kind of promoting certain elements around key seasons like Father's Day, Mother's Day, et cetera, et cetera. So Pinterest has been a good platform for us from that perspective. Loyalty obviously now is an important platform and an important channel when we're engaging with over 120 or 30,000 with emails. So that's been hugely important. Press and catalogs still have a role. However, that is, I suppose, less and less of our investment. TV obviously important. Big thing is our stores. Our store estate, we have 60 stores, most of them on the high street in Ireland or in the key shopping centres. And we have these fantastic windows. So we're really trying to maximise the opportunity that those windows are, what those windows deliver for us to communicate it. So you can even see on the top window up there, we have, Eason School Shop. We're actively promoting our online offering in store. And then obviously radio has been very, very important to us. But we have this whole new branch of digital marketing that we didn't have in the business 12 months ago. And you heard Ciara earlier on talk about PPC and SEO. They've become really, really important to us for driving traffic to our website. And all the time trying to tweak from a PPC perspective all of the key products that we have, and also from an SEO point of view, making sure that we're delivering the right type of content that's being picked up by Google that will all constantly push us up the rankings. We've launched an affiliate program, which is really in its infancy, but again, an important element of how we think we're going to be able to drive traffic going forward. And as I said, our emails have become critically important to us as well. Like anything else, when you start, you want to partner up with the right people. This year for school books, we partnered up with SuperValu. They were with one of our competitors last year who, I suppose, luckily for us, fell on some difficult times from a school book perspective, and we've been able to kind of, see the pickup from that, both in-store and online. But we partnered up with a whole host of people, and again, it was to drive awareness of easons.com and to make people aware of our offering both for school books and physical. So that just gives you a flavour of some of the partners we've teed up with. And similarly, with, from a school books perspective, EU Mum was very important to us, Mummy Pages, all the ones that you'd expect to, so that really targeted approach and giving them a specific offer to make sure that they come back to us. So that's been really, really important to us. So So I suppose from a performance perspective, we've seen a significant increase in our sale of ebooks. And now, admittedly, it's off a small base, but the reality is we've dropped these e-stores into our stores for one reason, and that is to make sure that consumers are aware that we actually sell digital content as much as anything else. So we've seen significant increases year on year. You probably see a little drop off in June this year. That's because of the phenomenon that was 50 Shades of Grey. Funnily enough, there was a huge amount of digital copies of that book sold in Eason's. So that's why you're seeing a little bit of a dip, and unfortunately, we are facing the phenomenon that was 50 Shades last year, so it has been challenging. And similarly from a school books perspective, again, I spoke about the growth that we're seeing, but there was a massive call out for an online solution for this, and we weren't offering it, and it's now become a serious part of our school book business. Again, you'll see a little bit of a drop off at the moment. That's because of 50 Shades of Grey. We sold thousands of copies online because a few ladies and maybe gentlemen weren't prepared to walk into their local bookstore. So, we're competing with that challenge at the moment. And no, I'm sure, Jeff, it wasn't you. But again, you can see yourself, we're significantly increasing, and at the same time, obviously making sure that we're looking after our bricks and mortar business. And this just gives you a flavour of some of the growth from a percentage perspective. So from our perspective, we see ourselves now as becoming kind of a leading e-tailer in this space. We still have a huge amount to do, and I think we'll be playing catch up forever, because you see the pace at which things are changing. But this has become now a significant. We have an e-commerce team in the business that I suppose 2 years ago we never would have thought of. So it really has become a really, really critical part of our business. So where are we now? We've over 200,000 visitors per month. I would see us now being very much, I suppose, a multi-channel retailer and pushing that message out to our consumers. We offer free delivery to everywhere in the UK. So if anybody goes onto Amazon and says Amazon are cheaper than Eason's, go through the process, and by the time you've got to your final bill with delivery, you might find that that's not always the case. And there's a huge amount that we're doing around community participation, and that's why I asked a question earlier on around content, because we very much see this as a critical element of how we're going to make sure as a brand we're continuing to engage people, how we actually obviously co-create content or how we actually deliver content. And I think one of the fears that you can have is that you actually end up managing all the content and trying to push it out, but I think the big thing that we need to do as retailers now is try and co-create content for consumers. In other words, give them a platform to almost engage with the brand, but actually push their content on and allow our customers effectively engage with each other. So we're doing a lot of work with that at the moment. So I suppose building on the successes in 2013, from a media perspective, radio has always been the traditional, has been our lead medium over the last 2 years. But what we're doing now is we're really trying to integrate it into all of the, I suppose, the digital platforms that say, for example, Today FM have. They've almost 900,000 listeners weekly, but when you look at their media player, their Twitter following, their website, their Facebook fans, their apps, we were only thinking radio, whereas now we're partnering up with a lot of these guys and making sure that we're completely visible across all their platforms. So every opportunity we're having to engage with the consumers that we want to engage with, be it on News Talk or Today FM or 90 FM or whatever else, we're making sure that we're visible on all of them. And we're also trying to be a lot more focused in relation to kind of the sites that we're engaging with. So our whole strategy around digital marketing has changed. So for example, summer reading, we're very much focusing, obviously, the likes of the BBC Travel, Ryanair, for back to school. I spoke about mummy pages, daysout.ie. So, we're really being targeted around where we're promoting our offering with them. And then for Christmas, which is so important to us, we're going to make sure we have very, very high visible sites. So obviously the Mail Online is a key one for that. So, that's the kind of the thinking and I suppose the approach we're trying to take from a traditional marketing business to becoming a lot more digital savvy. We also, I suppose, the big challenge we had from a marketing perspective was trying to, I suppose, push out that idea that we were now an online retailer. So we launched the first virtual bookstore in Ireland last year. We put it into Connolly Station. We wanted to put it into a highly visible place. Now, we certainly wouldn't be retaring on the sales we saw from it, but the reality of it is, from a brand perspective, we got significant coverage in everywhere, across all our traditional retailers, booksellers, Silicon Republic, so all of a sudden, Eason, who was very much a traditional bricks and mortar business, was all of a sudden now being called an innovator in the space. So it was important for us to show that we could actually go out on the front step, even though we were so far behind a couple of years ago, but that we could actually proactively go out and kind of lead the charge. So we've lots of plans around innovation for this year. And as I said, we're really kind of looking at, I suppose, key trends that we think are going to really kind of challenge us over the next few years. And we're doing a lot around, I suppose, really creating real experiential retail and how we can actually engage consumers in a physical space digitally. So I suppose the integration of more than just TVs in stores, but how we can actually kind of own consumers walking in before they come into the store, when they're actually in the store, and how we can actually own them outside the store as well. So it's almost that Ethan is top of mind in their whole journey. So we're doing a lot of work around how we can engage children and parents. We're doing a huge amount around how we can engage heavy book readers. And also, I suppose, we're looking at the big challenge we have at the moment is, unfortunately, physical books are in decline for the last number of years. It's very difficult to see how that's going to change. So our product offering and how that actually changes over the next coming years is going to be important. So we're really looking to see how we can stretch that brand. And that has to manifest itself online as well, as we see more and more consumers engaging with the brand. So I suppose, look, what were the key outcomes of where we've been so far? We've certainly reconnected with consumers from a brand perspective. We've injected vitality and energy into the brand. We've, I suppose, introduced a kind of a more youthful kind of approach to the way we're engaging with consumers, and that we've seen strong feedback from a tracker perspective with our brand on that. I'd like to think we've got strong online credentials. Our sales are certainly proving that over the last 3 years. So, admittedly off a small base, but the good thing is we're seeing increases on an ongoing basis, and our visitor numbers are up, our order numbers are up, so, which is all very, very positive. Our loyalty program has allowed us to have a much deeper engagement with consumers and created another channel from a digital perspective to communicate with them. We're performing ahead of the market, and we are performing we are in a very difficult market at the moment. We're now being seen as an innovator, and I suppose more importantly, our loyal customers that we had, we're, giving them every reason to become more loyal as we can. So a lot done and more to do. So really, what are our plans? At the start of 2013, we didn't have a mobile-enabled site. We now do. That's been important, and we're already starting to see a lot of traffic coming through via our mobile-enabled site now, and we're starting to see that convert. We're continuing to leverage our multi-channel position. You're going to hopefully see something on a trial basis this year from us in relation to what we're going to be planning for the next 12 to 18 months around our innovation strategy. We're changing our media mix. You saw that. We're leveraging our loyalty program as much as possible. And at the end of the day, this is all about, I suppose, from a shareholder perspective, is making sure that we pull every single lever we can to deliver value back to our shareholders and effectively deliver that sustainable business model that I talked about at the start. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Super. I had the privilege of doing the Company of the Year judging with Greg Sparks, Farrell Grant Sparks, last September. And David and Conor were in, and it was just the most inspirational story. You come away just smiling, an Irish retailer who's turned such a hard corner with so many progressive people in head office, so many progressive franchisees. It's a great Irish story, so well done, David. Okay, we've got 5 minutes for questions. I'm sure there's a few. Hands? Greg, Mark down the back there.
Hi, David.
Hi.
I'm quite interested in your pricing strategy. I don't know how much you can talk about it, but obviously more and more retailers are now synchronizing online pricing with offline pricing, and you're in quite a difficult place in books. And I think quite a few of your books are cheaper online versus offline. Can you talk a bit about what your thinking is behind that and whether it's creating customer issues for you between online and offline buying?
Yeah, good question. Probably when we launched the site, I suppose really at kind of the end of 2011 start, or when we effectively relaunched the catalogue site, we went in with a different pricing strategy. We're now actually aligned with our stores for that very reason. We consumers coming on saying, why, I can get it cheaper and it's free delivery and everything else like that. So I suppose that was more of a kind of a learning for us. It was, we were kind of experimenting to sort of see, and we were trying to, I suppose, try and compete as much as possible with Amazon, but we kind of felt to ourselves then, well, hold on a second, if we create the right content and the right kind of experience online, and then the price isn't exactly necessarily always the driving factor. And we've seen that with books, because there is certain books that we are more expensive than Amazon, but we're delivering the sales on it now. We could deliver more if we were a lot cheaper, but I suppose it has to be a model that works for us from a financial perspective, and we can't turn around and give away books for half nothing online and deliver them for free as well. So I suppose our hook is the free delivery anywhere in Ireland, and I suppose a quick turnaround as well. We try and shift everything out as fast as possible. We're looking at the potential of a model of a quicker turnaround, and maybe charging a fee like Amazon do for that express delivery, but if I'm honest with you, it probably won't happen this year.
Hi, David. Yeah, thanks very much. That was fantastic. I'm from Sam Macaulay's, and we're actually at the same sort of crossroads yourself were in 2010. Now we're a couple of years behind, obviously. But what I'm just wondering, and there's a lot of talk in-house in our own company about the Irish brand, the fact that we are Irish-owned, etc. How important was that to Eason's when you were going for the global market as such? Was, is it important to stay Irish, or should you be seen more globally?
I suppose when we were, I suppose as part of the journey, there were so many strands to the strategy that we were undertaking. We celebrated 100. We're 127 years in the high street. We used 2011 when we were effectively relaunching the brand and everything to dial up our heritage around and our Irishness around the fact that we were 125 years. We used that as a really, really big platform to launch our loyalty program and to launch our relaunch our website and everything else like that. We aren't necessarily dialing it up as a big kind of USP at the moment. That's not to say that we're not looking at it, but if I'm honest with you, we don't necessarily see it as a hugely critical part of what we're doing, because I think people know East Decent brand. It's so well established. So I think it depends on, I suppose, the affinity people have towards your brand and your longevity. But I don't think we do enough of it. We should probably do more, but it hasn't been a key focus for us.
David, do franchisees not feel threatened by the growth of your online business?
Yeah, it's look, that's been a challenge, and Mark is one of our franchisees here, and thankfully is one who embraces what we're trying to do, and I suppose everybody's concerned, because at the end of the day, franchisee wants to look after a patch, but I suppose as a business, we couldn't turn around and ignore what we were doing. And we have a business model that works for the franchisees and ourselves around our whole online offering. Our click and collect service is hugely important, because for me that's a perfect opportunity of getting people who are shopping online, who want to shop online, but actually getting them into the local store. So that's very, very important. So the more of that multi-channel piece we can bring together, and I suppose we're doing a lot of engagement with our franchisees to make sure that they understand that our agenda isn't, obviously, because we're trying to grow our franchise estate. But the reality of it is, we have a franchise strategy, we have our own bricks and mortar strategy, and we have an online strategy, and it's about making sure that we're open and honest and transparent with all aspects of it. But we certainly have. I won't lie if I've said we've had a couple of bumps, but like everything, you dust yourself down and you learn from them. So.
From implementation of the loyalty program, how long did it take you to gather meaningful customer information that could drive targeted marketing campaigns?
Sorry, could you just repeat that, sorry?
From implementation of the loyalty program,
Yeah.
how long did it take you to gather enough meaningful customer information to start driving more targeted marketing efforts?
Pretty instantly. What we did was we rewarded people who registered for the program with 100 points, and if they gave us additional information, they got an additional 100 points. And we give 3% back with our loyalty program. So most people, most of the grocery retailers give 1%. We give 3% because we wanted to make it more meaningful, that consumers could, because obviously the spend in our stores isn't like a grocery retailer. So we wanted to kind of reward them more. But we had 100,000 people signed up, and a significant chunk of them gave us all their information. So straight away we had the platform, we spent the end of 2011, October, November, December, gathering that 100,000, and 2012 was all about developing our communication strategy, which kick-started in February. So.
Okay, I know there's a few more questions, but I'm not allowed to take them, Abhishek, because there's people waiting to quit. Yeah, so there's a networking session at the end, and David will be around. So look, without further ado, we're going to close down that session. I think you'll all agree that was inspirational, so thank you, David. Thanks.